yeah, let's get it rolling. Evening Hour Live starts now. Greetings. Happy Monday, everybody. What's up? It's Monday, November 30th. Can you believe tomorrow is December? Let me know if I'm coming in loud and clear. I think I'm working good. I'm getting a little better at this setup. New mic, brand new mic. What else? Come on in, folks. Grab a drink, grab a snack. I even have the incense burner that I'm obsessed with rolling. God, I love this thing. I could look at this thing for hours. It's the most ridiculous obsession, besides the squishies. Thank you, William. Ah, The Fly, one of my favorite movies of all time. The remake. Believe it or not. Come on in, folks. I've had a crazy weekend. Crazy good. Because they're not always crazy good. I've been very productive, and it's starting to, like, come together, which I'm going to talk about tonight. I'm going to give some shout-outs tonight. We're going to talk about my crazy Kickstarter, and I've got some stories, and I'm getting ready for Friday's show. So this whole week is me getting ready for Friday's show. So there's going to be magic, and more chat about magic. If you're new to this channel, please hit that like and subscribe and notify button. I'm trying to get to 1,000, and I'm getting close. It's getting there. It's slowly creeping there. And if you're new to the channel, I make my living as a magician, and I have been doing so for a long time. So Friday, I'm giving one of my magic lectures, and I'm doing them free now. I used to charge for tickets live. Then it was Zoom. You had to pay for tickets. Now it's free on YouTube. Just come on in. Hit that subscribe button. For my donors, folks, honestly, I can't ask for more. Look at this. People have been donating since the day I did the show. I'm not even monetized yet, and I'm getting monetary donations from my subscribers. So if you do that, it goes into the show. It goes into my new mic. I got a new light set up today. What else? It comes right into the show. Thank you. Come on in. Come on in. We got people coming in. I love doing these live. I don't like doing them in the can. I used to do them in the can. When I first started this whole internet adventure, it was Boardgasm, my board game show. Now there's all sorts of shows, and tonight, this is one of them. This is my evening hour. So let's do my shout-outs to my list. These are the people that are on my my donor list. If you donate $25, you get your name on the list. And the list is going to have some serious benefits starting Saturday. Or actually, yeah, Friday. I'm going to start closing content, and you guys will be able to look at it. So, we got Max Heel, Wailing Wizard, Don Slater, Alexander Ray, Ian McDonald, Sean Bonner, Artiri, Mark Muggsy, Jimmy D, Fallon, and Michael DeHill. Thank you, everybody. These are my list people. You are my first people to donate to my channel. You will go down as the very first. It's pretty awesome. Thank you. What else? Oh, this is important. Oh my God. Lots of thoughts today on some ancient philosophy, which we'll talk about. My God, is it smoky in here. Let's see what... Oh yeah, look at him now. My God, let me move my dirty notebook out of the way. Look at this. I love it when if there's no wind, it leaves the first area and slowly drips down to the next, and then sometimes it leaves and goes on the table. Let's try to catch it. Today is Cyber Monday, and this is probably the first time in my life I ever had something important to say on Cyber Monday, but I do. You see, on Thursday, I'm sorry. It's been a long week. On Friday, it was Black Friday, and I started my first Kickstarter I've ever started. In 2 hours, we hit our number. I did not expect it that fast. I literally did the Kickstarter. I put it up. Within an hour, there was about 1,000. I then put on a wetsuit, went surfing. When I came back, it was over. I was shocked. By the end of the day, I think we hit 5,000. It's almost at 9,000. It probably will hit it tonight. I am flabbergasted, honored, and way impressed that people showed up. You guys showed up. So, Cyber Monday, we have a deal. If you go to Kickstarter right now, live, there's what do you call them? Not a platform, not a program, a project. Lots of P's. There's a project called The Satanic Playing Cards. That's it. Easy to find. Very bold. Doesn't get any bolder. There's a deal. 5 decks of the cards for $69. It's way cheaper. It's only up for today. There's only been a few people that jumped on it. We have some other deals up there. We have the 3-deck deal, and now there's a 5-deck deal just for today. And people are buying our secret session. We have a thing where if you buy one of the packages, you get a thing called the secret session. And it is an hour and a half with me and the artist talking about the deck of cards in detail that we'll never discuss ever again. That's all I'll say. It's going to be awesome. And we already have like 10 people signed up. So we have 27 more days. Wow. I can't believe we hit that number right away. Oh, we got some people coming on. Come on in, folks. Come on in. So that is Cyber Monday's news. So here's what's going on this week. Wednesday, I'm going to do another evening hour, just like this. It's going to be awesome. I actually really like these evening hours because I plan them, but I leave a little bit loose. So, and I'm an improv guy. I like flying off the crowd. So again, if you're watching this show, it's interactive. Ask me questions. Throw it out there. And we have a very chatty forum usually in here. So, and I love the people that jump in here. So come on in. Also, if you're new, subscribe, like, and notify. Do that whole thing. It really helps. So Wednesday, I'm going to do another one of these, but there's going to be more info on magic. Because I've taught my magic method level 1. Please go look at it now. It's got the most views of any of my videos right now. My live new videos. And I'm going to take it down soon. It's going to get put in a locked box for my list. There's material in it you do need to watch a few times, which is why people like to rewatch them. Friday is Magic Method Level 2. It gets harder. So you definitely want to go see that first one. I'm going to do a little bit of the hard stuff. Like, I'm going to start getting into that. And I'm already working on Magic Method Level 3. And that one might be a separate thing on Zoom. I'm not sure yet. I might pull it off of this. And there's a reason. I've put the most work in my life into 2 tricks. Well, more than that, but there are 2 that I've put a lot of work in. One is just card manipulation. Whenever you guys see me making cards and I'm just pulling them out of the air, it's a lot of work. It's obtainable, but it's a lot of work. The other one is the 3 cups and the 3 balls. You know, the classic 3 cups. I've done a lot of work, and I've invented the most new things for that trick. So I don't know if I'm going to be giving that one away free. I might wait till I hit 1,000 subscribers and put it in the subscription live stuff. I'm not sure yet. But my cups and balls is my favorite one. And even if you're not into magic, you'll love it. Because cups and balls is the history of humanity. Literally, humanity. I could do a Behind the Devil's Curtain episode on just the 3 cups and the 3 balls. There it is. I'm doing it. Writing it down. Behind the Devil's Curtain. Okay? Maybe it's going to be episode 5. I don't know yet. Huh. And it's going to be called... God, what's a nice... The 3 cups and the 3 balls. God, there's got to be a better word for that. I'm going to put... Ancient... The ancient trick of all tricks. Too many words. I love coming up with titles. Short and sweet. Bam! You're going to watch me do it live right now. Ancient... I don't want to put ancient magic. It's got to have the word magic tricky thing in it. Because it is a trick. It's, you know... ancient... I got it. It's going to be called... The oldest trick in the world. Because that's what it's called. It's a little long. I might have to shorten it. There it is. It's in print. You know how I am. I write everything down. To take an action, you write it down. It's the secret to all magic. Right here. The pen. The pen is mightier than the sword. Most of the time. Most of the time. Yeah, so there we go. There's a great episode because... misdirection. You know, interesting. William brought the word in, misdirection, which is a very famous word that magicians use for what we do. But I forget which magician fixed the wording. It might have been Tommy Wonder. I'm not sure. If somebody knows, jump in. Instead of calling it misdirection, it should be called just direction. Because you're not really misdirecting them. You're literally just directing them to what you want them to see. It's a better way to look at it because it's clearer. It's clearer because no one needs to know that word but you. It's not like you tell the audience, I'm going to misdirect you now. Although we do say that sometimes to get them, to direct them. It's very funny. There it is, Tommy Wonder. So I knew it was him. I knew it was either him or who else would have said that, Rick Sherman? Who else is a good philosopher? Tommy Wonder, for those of you that don't know, amongst the magician community, and Rick Sherman's one of them, he was a philosopher magician. He really had some great thinking on his magic. And he wrote a book that's in 2 volumes called Books of Wonder. I have them right there. I highly recommend them. Even if you're not a magician, you probably would get a lot. Makini? Who the heck's Makini? Fakini? The guy that made the billiard balls? Who the hell's... Oh, Malini! Max Malini. I was like, Makini? I mean, Robert Houdin, I wouldn't put him in the philosopher category of magicians. Tommy Wonder for sure. Fakini? Well, I guess Di Vernon to a certain degree. Now we're getting magic nerd. Most of the people watching have no idea what we're talking about. Unless you're a magician. But I do recommend Tommy Wonder if you want to like get a super... Like a book written for the magic world. If you're a layman and you read the Tommy Wonder book, you probably would enjoy it. Because it's a really good inside look at how someone creatively solves problems. Which is my favorite thing to do. I love creative problem solving. Come on in, people. If you're new, hit that like and subscribe button. Trying to get to 1,000. What else? Before we get into any more, I mentioned the Kickstarter. It's live now. I think we're funded at 200. Wow, let's see. We are... Wow, we're almost at 9 grand, folks. We'll probably hit 9 grand by this evening. And we are... wow, we have 26 days to go. 202 backers. That's cool. So, thank you. That's up live, and I'll give you a quick sneak peek at, there we go. Oh, yes. Where's the other picture? I had such a better picture here somewhere. Oh, here. Bam! Look at that. Folks, these are going to be absolutely beautiful. Stuart Palm is the artist. Fantastic artist. He's got creative ideas. He's good at working with me because I'm the guy throwing him all these demons and ideas and pulling it together. And this guy, I've worked with him on many projects, and it's really fun. So, I don't know. These cards are going to blow your mind when you see them up close. I have a deck right here of his other deck that he did called the Satanic Playing Cards. I believe they're gone. You can't get these anymore. And oh, there you go. Butterfingered. Here, the foiling on these is beautiful. It does not do it justice, you seeing it here. So this is the card company that's printing them. They're called Legendary. They make cards for the Macau casinos. And I'll tell you what, these cards. So I like Tally Ho. I'm gonna be honest. It's my brand of brands. I can break them in 2 seconds. But these here are a different type of card. Stuart gave me these cards months ago, 6 months to 8 months ago, and I've been playing with them a lot. Okay, shuffling them. I've been doing lots of Pharaoh shuffling and jumbo fanning, and oh, look at these. I've been doing lots of this, a lot of these things. Not a lot of springing, because they are stiffer than a normal card, but I know if I kept doing that, they would break in really quick. They feel like a brand new deck of cards. When you put them together, they're really still together and solid. So for those of you that want to have a deck of cards that lasts a long time, and I mean years, right here. Now, I mess with them all the time, and they've already lasted like 6 months. Most of my playing cards, and Rick Sherman's a professional magician in here, he'll tell you, if you do 1 gig, they're done. 1. Some nights I go through 2 decks. If it's humid out, definitely 2 decks. If it's a 4-hour gig, 2 decks. 2-hour gig could be 2 decks too. So, right there. Awesome cards. I wanted to talk about board games quick, and then we're going to talk about magic, and more magic. I'm going to talk about some magician stuff for those of you that want to get on the inside of some of the yeah, I'm going to talk about one of my mentors tonight, and then we're going to talk about a cool philosophy thing I picked up today. Seneca. Today was a Seneca day. So, board games. Last week I did a Boardgasm, episode 10, which is crazy. And it was on zombie games. And since that episode, I've played even more zombie games. I've played Night of the Living Dead, the new game from Come On Games. I played it a bunch. And I busted out my favorite one, Walking Dead, All Out War by Mantic. It's by far my favorite zombie game. You can do a lot of stuff in it. It's kind of like an open world feeling. You can kind of do whatever you want. I played that, and whew, great game. But then, a friend of mine came over, and we played a game that I bought, I don't know, 2-3 years ago. Played it maybe once or twice, maybe twice. Put it away and literally forgot it. And lo and behold, a friend of mine comes over and says, "Hey, did you ever hear of this game?" And I said, "I have it. It's Pandemic Cthulhu." Folks, it's good. It's really hard. It beats you most of the time. Basically, you have the H.P. Lovecraft New England area, and the demons are showing up, and you gotta shut the cultists down. So, the difference between this and Pandemic, when the disease happens again in the area, it spreads in the game, in the Pandemic game. In this, it triggers more demons to show up, which triggers other things. Awesome. And the other game I played the other day, and I'm going to flip my record. The other game I got to play yesterday, which I wanted to play for a while, is the game called Rambo. And it came out this year. It was a Kickstarter. And it's by Everything Epic. Oh, I forgot to give a shout out to somebody. Big one. There's a YouTube channel on here called Deckin' Around. Not Dickin' Around, Deckin' Around. And they review Kickstarter decks. And guess which deck they did today? They did our deck of cards, and they kind of dug it. They gave us some suggestions, which was cool. And I think they were surprised at how fast we funded it. And shout out to you, Deckin' Around. Yeah, thank you. So check out their YouTube channel. Go subscribe to them. I just did. They review card decks. And for me, that's important to know what else is going on. So I'm on their new show. Very cool. Anywho, what was I talking about? Oh, games. So I played the new Rambo solo. Just me. I played a mission. It's Vietnam, and I'm trying to rescue prisoners of war. And it was me, Rambo, playing Rambo, and Ko, the girl. It's pretty awesome. It's a really cool game because there's no dice. Love it. Very different. It's weird. There's nothing random. So everything that happens, I mean, there's some surprises, like the bad guys show up, they spawn places you wouldn't know. But there's no, like, when it's your turn rolling dice, you have to, like, plan it out and apply your cards to certain things. It's very cool. Yo, let's talk about Magic. Where's my water? Drinking water tonight through... Oh, look. Munchkin. Silicone cups. From Gen Con 2019. Delicious. I've been on water for a while. I stopped drinking soda. I do like my no alcohol beers. Yeah, let's talk Magic. It's interesting how through this whole ordeal that we've all been going through all over the world, which is wild, being a magician has been interesting, I gotta say. Doing live shows, I do a lot of Zoom performances. Last spring, I did a lot. It slowed down. Things started to open a bit, so I started getting live gigs a little bit. From this many to this many. No joke. And I started teaching lessons more online. And of course, doing things like this. So, I did my Magic Method Level 1 when it was my first show on this channel. Live. When I say first show, I mean live show. And it was amazing. I had a really good turnout. The donations that night were nuts. So, because normally I charge $25 just to watch any lecture, whether it be live or a ticketed Zoom event. It's usually like $25. So this was free, and a lot of people kicked in, and it was beautiful. And I would say the best thing in that lecture, I'm going to go over it right now, because it wasn't the magic tricks. It was my rules that I follow. If you watch my magic lecture, I give a really quick history of where magic came from, which I think you should watch if you're a magician. Because it's an important deal. It's what the basis of my entire Behind the Devil's Curtain show is about. Is the origins of magic. Real and fake. And in my Magic Method Level 1, whenever I give a lecture on magic, I always like to bring up my philosophy and my rules that I set for myself on how to creatively come up with magic and how to perform. My rules that I follow. So I'm gonna talk about them a little bit right now. because... Oh, wow. Where are they here? This is interesting. I'm just curious of how I wrote them out here. Okay, yeah. It's so funny, because I have different versions of certain rules depending on, yeah, depending on who I'm teaching. If I'm teaching kids or adults, I add or take away a few. But here they are. So whenever I'm coming up with magic, I always remember the first rule is to create wonder. That's it. Create wonder. Make it a real experience. It's not a suspension of disbelief. That's the main key. So you can create wonder. I mean, I experienced wonder when I saw Lord of the Rings. I'm sure a lot of you did. I've experienced wonder playing video games. Playing live role-playing games. There's been moments where things happen and you really get a gush of energy, right? But when you have a moment of wonder from a magic experience, and I mean a real magician experience, it should be unlike any of those, okay? And so I know a lot of people, when they're performing a magic trick, it doesn't create wonder. It creates I call it the humph. Huh. It gets that reaction. And that's not good. That's okay. Huh. If it's going to lead to a wow, which is going to lead to a, oh my God, I can't believe that just happened. Okay, that's wonder. And building to that is okay. But the goal is create wonder, okay? Number 2, the statement, magic is real. Okay, a lot of magicians don't like to say it that way. I don't know why, but magic's real because of this reason alone. All the art forms, music, poetry, theater, film, visual arts, they take things that exist and things that exist in the fantasy world from our imaginations. I'm sorry. I'm flipping it around. It's a nuanced thing. They take things from our real world, right? And they make fantasy. A painting is fantastical. There's a fantasy image in it. A film, Lord of the Rings, they take things from our imagination and fantasy and they create it in the film. Literally, like right out of your imagination. It becomes real. Well, magic is not that. Magic takes things that exist in the fantasy world that are not real and they make them actually happen for real. In real time. With no theatrical guidance needed. With no suspension of disbelief. None. There isn't any. It's real. That's magic. That's what makes it different than all the other art forms. And a lot of magicians forget that, I think. Magicians are real-life superheroes. Literally. You don't have to go put your costume on to do a magic trick. If you're a magician, people know that you can do it at any waking moment and should be able to. Number 3... This is a weird one. No gimmicks or gadgets. In parentheses, not too many. I try my best to use my skill level first to solve all my problems in magic. Not a gadget I bought at a magic store or a trick deck of cards. Even if the trick is better than maybe something I can pull off with my own hands. I prefer using my own hands and my own skill, even if the fake version or the trick deck is better. Because if I mess up, they'll forgive me. They don't forgive you if they see the string or the trick deck. And 2, it makes me creatively problem solve better and probably come up with a better act. That's my 3rd rule. My 4th rule is, and this goes partly with the 3rd rule, use less stuff. Eliminate. And that doesn't mean just props. That means like the act itself. Like make sure you're not adding a bunch of junk in the thing. You're keeping it very smooth and simple. And you're making it simple. You're not keeping it simple. Big difference. That's a Tommy Wonder thing. You make it simple. Keep it simple, stupid's not cool. Dumb saying. Because you're keeping something the way it is bad. First of all, get stupid out, right? That's what Tommy Wonder said. And make it simple, meaning tool it. Mess with it. You gotta mess with it to get out the fat, right? Clever kills. Eliminate. That was Victoria Santa Cruz. I talked about her last week. What I'm saying is a lot of this is coming from her. Number 5, when you're performing magic, I wrote down make friends first, then magic. You got to make friends with these people. They got to trust you. They got to like you. And you only have a second or two to do it. Okay? If you watch some of my old episodes, I talk about behavior and how to, when you interact with someone for the first time, a million ways to do it to create a moment where the person trusts you and goes, I kind of like this guy. That's what you need. Once you have that, then you can create wonder. And number 6, this is a big one. It's not what you're doing, it's how you're doing it. So most of the time for problem solving, it'll be like, I think I need to do this type of trick or this. It's like, no, it's how you're doing it. I have a few acts that I do in my shows that there's not much to them. They're very basic. Someone picks a card and I find it. But the process in which I do it makes it the act, and then the grand finale gets wonder. It gets a gasp. It's in my trailer. You'll see. If you watch my Magic Method trailer, you'll see what happens. It gets this trick I do. It's a very basic trick. It gets a gasp. I use that just for an example. Like, it's not what you're doing. It's just how you. I'm doing a very basic magic trick, but I spent 20 years making each little tiny part add up to that Zabango end. So that's my basic rules that I try to follow with all my tricks that I do or my routines that I present to anybody. Here's some little bits I want to talk about. And it brings into one of my mentors. And this is what I was going to talk about tonight. He lives in Germany right now, so if you're watching, Jeff, you're missed very deeply by many performer types and friends and artist types, because, yeah, when he was in New York, I saw him a lot. And his name's Jeff Sheridan, for anybody interested. If you're a magician, you probably have heard of the guy. He got very famous for being a magician who was a street performer in Central Park, late 60s, early 70s. And the thing about his street performance as a magician is he didn't talk, all pantomime. Now, if you know this, if you're a performer, when you're street performing, a lot of it's making noise. You got to get a crowd. So they ring bells and they get the crowd. They do a little magic. They do a little magic. They pass the bucket. And then they do their grand finale. And then they pass it again. There's a formula. A lot of it's here. Well, he was silent and he was so famous every day. He didn't have to draw a crowd. They were waiting for him. He told me this. He's like, guy, it's like going to work. He'd wake up. He knew there was a crowd of people waiting to see his magic. And his act is very simple. Very simple. But boy, is it good. And boy, is it really beautiful. And you can look him up online. You'll see videos of it. It does not do it justice at all. You have to see it live. You have to be there. You have to experience the silence. The videos of him online, like teaching card stuff, there's like a weird song playing, and he never uses music live. Even in theaters, he's dead silent. So one of the things I learned, so I met him in a magic shop, and I made friends with, I was warned that the guy's like, they're like, he's kind of mean. He's a jerk. He's really arrogant. So I met the dude, and I disagree. I think he's a brilliant artist type. And if he doesn't like you, he'll tell you. He's one of those guys. He's very honest. He's very tall, large hands. I mean, when I put my hand on his hand, his fingers were at least that much longer than mine. So he can hide a deck of cards very easily in his hand. And his skill level's outstanding. So I met him, and it turns out we live very close to each other. And then I was working in magic shops, and we just became friends. And he would come over to my house, and we would show each other material we were working on. And I learned an obscene amount by watching him creatively problem solve and him teaching me how to do stuff, especially card manipulation. I mean, he would be like, you can never learn that move. Your hands are too small. Very honest. Be like, forget that one. Do that. But I got my card manipulation. My split fans got way good after, hanging with him for a long time. He's one of the teachers for David Copperfield. Jeff Sheridan, I think, learned a lot from him too in his early days from going to the park. Because Jeff Sheridan had a similar trajectory. I think he street performed for a while and then took it off. Yeah, that's right, Jeff. Yeah, McBride started, I think, street performing. I'll ask him. If you're watching, Jeff, cheers. Two Jeffs that are good at card magic. So I met the guy, and he would show me tricks. And I would hear about tricks that he came up with that no one had ever seen before. And he's famous for doing a rope routine. You cut the rope and restore it many times. Card manipulation, like the style I like. Those are the two. He had a few other bits with a cigarette and a coat and things like that, but those two are the ones that simple act. Simple, but perfectly done and meticulously crafted for a live show. A little humor, lots of skill level. Like, wow, so he would mix skill with magic. He would do something skillful and then blow your mind. One of the things he did in his show that I always thought was really genius, I'm going to talk about. Whoa, I just got splashed. And it was funny because when I saw him do it, it reminded me something I learned in theater school that was quite profound at the time. So Jeff Sheridan, when he would perform, he had like a duffel bag. And the duffel bag had his props. It had his rope and the scissors and the cards. So he would come out and like put it down. And I believe the first thing he would do is take the rope out and give it to somebody in the audience. So he would give some props out. So now he's got their attention because the audience is like, what's he doing? And then, this is where it gets crazy. He takes out a comb and a playing card. And he combs his hair looking at the playing card. And then he just goes right back into his thing. And I mean, at first it looks like something a madman would do. You're like, because you don't get it. You're like, wait, this guy's going to do magic, but yet it's a little bit of a puzzle at first. But what it does, and it's brilliant, it's a little surrealistic moment. He's blending reality with a surrealistic thing where he doesn't have a mirror. He's using a card, so he clearly can't see himself. It makes the audience stop in their tracks and immediately start asking questions. As soon as you can get the audience to ask questions about what's going on, the hooks are in. They're hooked. They want to know the answers. And it's one of my secrets to creating wonder. Is it to engage the crowd? They have to look at you and find stuff interesting about the way you look, or the way you walk, or the smell of the perfume you're wearing, or the cologne or oil. You got to have these things in place. And this is where magic, right? My magic, my fake magic, transcends into the realm of real magic, which is what my entire show Behind the Devil's Curtain's about. All of these little pieces to the puzzle go in here, in here, in here, in their mind and heart, and it does something to them. It makes them trust you, want to be fooled, want to experience wonder that you are about to gift them. And just the simple act of doing that is one of the little pieces to the puzzle. When I saw him do it, I was like, wow, that is a brilliant little 2-second thing. The other thing that he does, and I remember joking with him about this, I said, and I saw him do a theater performance once where he did his street act. And I said, you're the only magician I've ever seen open rope up and get applause. And he was like, oh yeah, I do sometimes, yeah. And it's just because he has a way of opening it. He like does this, and the little end does a flip, and he takes a little step forward. And he gets an applause. And I learned a lot from that. I, at the time, God, this is a long time ago now. This is 15 years ago. I had just started doing large-scale magic tricks out of necessity. I knew if I invested a little money in, you know, the girl getting in the box and disappearing bit, that I would be able to book some larger scaled shows. Because I was getting phone calls for them and I wasn't able to do them. I was like, people would say, hey, can you do a basketball halftime show? No. Well, now I can. And have. And I was learning how to do these illusions. And a lot of people think, yeah, you just put the girl in the box. And dude, they're a lot of work, okay? Doing illusions is not easy. Yeah, it's not sleight of hand, but it's sleight of everything else. First of all, you are a furniture mover and a truck driver, okay? You're moving furniture into people's venues, and you have to put it together, make sure it works, repair it on the spot, fix. So you have to learn how to fix this stuff too, which I do. I have screwdrivers and tape and Velcro, and then you got to learn how to do it in every type of place, different venues, different stages. And I was doing the disappearing girl, and the grand finale is they think she's on the bottom. They're like, she's on the bottom, and I go, oh, and I pull the cloth off, and there it is. I wasn't getting applause. I mean, people would be like, oh, it was like this weird, it would get like a little gasp, oh, but it was kind of quiet. And I wanted, you know, hey, I wanted that. I wanted the, so now I pull the cloth off. I'll show you what I do. I'm not kidding. This changed the whole thing. So I pull the cloth, and then I go like that. I literally take a step forward and do that. I slap my foot. It's like a flamenco move. It makes them applause. It triggers the applause. As soon as I do that, I spin the box once, so they see the whole way around. And now I do the Hulk Hogan. And I do it on both sides. And it triggers 2 applause. I mean, dude, you got to train them. Someone just said, now you know how drummers feel. Oh, yes, I can imagine. I can play the drums, but I'm not a drummer. I am a bass player. If somebody asks me what I play, I say bass guitar. That's my instrument. Drumming is very different. Drumming is hard. I mean, you are the beat. You are holding it. It's not an easy gig. And you got to sit way in the back. I like playing bass. Ah. Wow. Libra Liz just asked a really great question. What was the most difficult place you've had to perform with the box in terms of setting up and taking down? So many. God. I mean, last year I did the Rainbow Room. It was a Lady Gaga event, actually. And I did the disappearing girl in the box there. The Rainbow Room, I forget what building it's in. Oh, it's in Rockefeller Center. I'm like, what? It's in the Rock, okay? It's the top of the Rock. It's the security to get my car in the building to unload. It was a lot. It was paperwork and this, and I mean, it was a lot. Now, they did a good job at helping me, the crew. But I have so many memories of... I've had to set it up in front of people because there's no backstage. And I have to do that so they don't see how it works, this trick. Oh, the record's over. I'm going to play Bach next. So, I mean, my God, now you're having me dig deep because, honestly... Oh, is this it? Oh, this is some Mozart. We're going to go Mozart. I mean, let me think here. Hold on. There's got to be one. I mean, I've had it break and have to fix it right before. Like, as the show's going, I'm fixing it. That's happened a few times. Just because it's been in like so many shows. I mean, I've done that trick. Oh, here's one. I got one. So one of the times I did it, I was performing with my variety show troupe called New York Variety All-Stars. And we got hired. You ready for this? We got hired for the opening act for the hot dog eating contest at Coney Island. Just so you know, it's like between 15 and 17,000 people. I don't know. It's a mob scene. It's a sea of humans. And here we are. We're going to do this trick. That was hard. We had to... First of all, the stage is like 15 feet off the ground. It was daylight. We were going to... During the disappearing girl trick, there's a moment where we breathe fire. At the same time, two of us do this. So, no, I do not build my props. I have builders. But I know how to fix them all. I'm trying to think of which things I... No. Yeah, I don't build props. So not only did we have to have a crew help us load the illusion on the stage, and then I did the disappearing girl, but the end was us breathing fire on the beach. You know, 16,000 people, live TV. You know, it's like... How many years ago was this? This was 5 years ago. Maybe 6 years ago. We had to have a... We had to do a... So one of the people blowing fire has to decide if you're going to do it or not, depending on the wind. So it was like, he gave the signal, we both down the stuff. I look at him one more time. Yes, we do it. I mean, it was like, because we're trying to time this all out. That was nerve-wracking. One of the easiest places to load in and perform it was for the Hells Angels 50th anniversary event. Not kidding. Easy. Easy in, easy out. I mean, there's definitely some other stories. I mean, I've done that trick in sporting event arenas. I've done it in hockey arenas in Canada. I've done it in, of course, theaters, nightclubs. I'm trying to think of the weirdest churches, synagogues, Masonic temples. I'm trying to think of the weirdest place I've done that trick. Of course, outdoors, surrounded. That's why I like it. It works. It works in most situations. Yeah, I have some really good illusion builder guys that make some exclusive-y kind of cool props. And I have some illusions that were built for me. One of them's right here. That skull handkerchief is covering a really famous illusion that there's not many of. It's right here. It's called, traditionally called a frame of life and death, but that's made by the original guy who built Bill Neff, the spook show magician in the 50s and 40s. The guy that built that for him built this for me. He's passed away now, but he was in his 90s. And I knew if I didn't get him to make one, I wouldn't. Yeah, that would be it. I wanted one from him, and I think he's only built a couple of them. So I love it. One of my favorite pieces. Richard Sherry welded my milk can, and he's in Canada. Richard Sherry, cheers to you. Beautiful prop. So yeah, I found some great builders. Now, I don't have as many illusions as I used to. I sold most of them. I have a fire cage for sale if anybody wants one. Cheap. Price to go. Wow. We still have people in here. Let's go. All right. Well, I'm going to wrap this up soon. Because I have things I need to do. And it's Cyber Monday. It's go look at Satanic Playing Cards on Kickstarter. Let's talk about Seneca a little bit before we get out of here. Where is... Oh, here. Oh, where was the paper that was in here? Hold on. I had a piece of paper in here with some notes. Oh, here it is. So today, I'm going to turn this down. Yeah, a lot of you know this because you watch a lot of you guys are great supporters, and I really do thank you for that. A lot of the guys that jump in here a lot, thank you. It means a lot to me. Without an audience, performers have nothing, so it means a lot. And I'm glad that you guys are in here asking questions and having fun, and it's supposed to be a party of sorts, especially in these times. So thank you. So a lot of you know this. I basically designed my own college course in philosophy. I would always say to people, if I ever could go back to school again, I would go to school for philosophy, and I don't have time for that. Well, I made time for it, home, here. Now, I'm not a professional curriculum creator, but I basically wrote down all the classics, and I'm reading them all. And while I'm reading them, I'm doing some comparative stuff, and I'm watching college lectures online, and I'm mixing them up. And so I've been in it deep for a few months now, and it's blowing my mind. It's changed me a lot of this, and I really mean it. I'm not kidding. It's some profound stuff. And it's funny because most of the things that I'm coming across, they're things that we all know usually. Some not. One of the things is the notion of toxic positivity. It's an idea that you don't hear it talked about. And there's a reason why it's not being talked about, and it's because that's what's sold. Toxic positivity is what is sold on TV, in the news, in advertising, self-help, and life. And I'll explain in a second. It's a very popular sound good thing. It's the old, what's the saying? Live, love, laugh, YOLO. Those types of things. I put that in the toxic positivity. It doesn't mean that those things aren't healthy all the time, but to a lot of people they are. And I'll explain. This is the book here, Seneca's Letters. This is a very inexpensive book that will blow your mind. So I was thinking, like, a lot of the stoicism that I'm gathering basically puts the notion real growth comes from lots of work, right? Anything that you do, that you put the time into, you're going to get results from. It might take a long time. You might need to have a lot of patience. That feeling of accomplishing those things is where happiness comes from. It's the result of that. Very different than the Epicurists. So I fit in the middle. I'm on the balancing board of this. The Epicurists were like, it's all about pleasure. But then they took pleasure and broke it down into a scientific manner. So it's not just like, fun. It's not that. They actually put a lot of work into it. The Stoics are like, cool, but that shouldn't be the goal. The goal should be to do this and don't worry about that. And that will show up. I actually go that way. I think that's more real. And it's funny because everybody believes it to be the other way around. They think happiness isn't the result of hard work and growth. It's you have to be happy, and if you're happy, you get nice results and good things happen, right? They're a little nuanced in a very interesting manner, and so it's weird because we actually evolved to think that way, to think that happy should come first. So we evolved to think the part that's probably not going to help us because we evolved to run away from all negative emotions. If you have negative emotions, you try to find the out, okay? But here's the rub. That notion of if you're happy, good things happen, that's what we're sold. That's what advertising is. That's what the self-help movement, a lot of it's about. And that's what you see people posting all the time. You know, this whole like, I'm happy and loving it without it being an examination of what the problems are. And that's what this is. And okay, so here's where Seneca shows up. Seneca, I talked about this the other day with somebody. And this ties into what I said last week. about Victoria Santa Cruz, my mentor. She used to say this. The secret to living long and being sane and happy is to not forget your past. So I've heard people say, forget the past, you can't go back and deal with it. You know, just worry about the now. And I actually think that's exactly the wrong way to look at it. And Victoria Santa Cruz, her analogy kind of fits this, the Seneca analogy. Basically, she said, you're in a car and you're driving it towards a brick wall. So there's 4 types. There's the guy that's only focused on the brick wall. He's like, hey, oh my God, I'm going to hit the wall. No, no, no. Right? Then you got the guy that's doing this, and he's busy like looking at the pastures that he's passed and trying to remember where he's going. And he has no idea who's in the car, and he doesn't even see the wall coming. Okay? The guy that's just looking at the wall and freaking out, he doesn't even acknowledge who's in the car, and he certainly isn't thinking about that. Then you have the guy who's in the car with his buddy, and he's so enwrapped in his buddy, he does not see the wall coming, and he is not paying attention to the past. He's right here. That's most people, or at least that's the goal for a lot of people. And Victoria, my teacher, my mentor, she said, they're all wrong. It's all 3 happening at the same time. You know you're going to hit the brick wall. It's there. You're like, yeah, here it comes. I'm watching it. It's coming closer. You're in the car with your buddy. You're having a conversation. And you're remembering all this past. You're remembering all of these things of how you got to where you are today, so that you remember the bad stuff that happened, because that's where you learned the lessons and got to where you are. And as you get older and get closer to that brick wall, you're going to have even more challenges. It's going to get harder. So get ready. That's you got to get ready. It's not going to get easier. It does not get easier. Entropy's on the way for everything, whether it be your garbage can, your sink, your shower, your mind. It's all going to decay and crazy. So you got to constantly be on it. And that's what the philosopher guys were always talking about. Is like I did my show the other day on dreams. Like we sleep 26 years of our life and never talk about sleeping. We spend our whole life doing all of these things, but we don't talk about the internal, you know? And when I say internal, I am not talking about spiritual in any way, shape, or form. No. You can call it whatever you want. I'm talking about yourself, as who you are, your brain. Some people call that the spirit, but yeah, so this Seneca guy, past, it's unalterable. And it's there. The present is transitory, and the future is uncertain. But I believe that if you have all 3 of those rolling at once, if you remember that past, and you're good at surfing, and I mean surfing because in surfing, the wave's moving, right? And you have to go with the flow. You got to make decisions according to nature. So you remember the past. You're surfing here in the present. It's transitory, as Seneca said. You're transitioning, right? That uncertain future, yes, it's uncertain. But boy, do you have a better chance at picking which lane to go if those other things actually are happening. So, let's jump over to, let's look at these comments. William says, I've been sharing a lot of philosophy and the Stoic thoughts. The friend, he says the friend understands it all, but does nothing to actually change. Yeah, most people don't have the courage to. Well, yeah. I'm going to read something I read earlier that's blowing my mind. To actually make changes to your mindset and behavior after realizing you can confront your issues to overcome them. Yeah, it's weird. It's weird. A lot of it is like our brain chemistry just gets used to a certain cocktail. And you might be living in a bad state, but that cocktail, that bad state cocktail is your normal. So when these other things show up, I think it makes it kind of, even if it's a positive thing. Where are my glasses? Listen to this Seneca thing. And it's something, again, it's like a thought that's hard to process, but I think this is so Seneca quotes a lot of Epicurus. I think he was a fan. So I believe this is an Epicurus thing. He said, it's absurd. I believe he's quoting Epicurus. It is absurd, he says, to run towards death because you are tired of life, when it is your manner of life that has made you run towards death. It's so great. When it is through the fear of death, that you have robbed your life of peace, men are so thoughtless, nay, so mad, that some, through their fear of death, force themselves to die. Yeah, it is. It's absurd. But, yeah, absurdity. Humans are absurd. We lie and believe it to ourselves all the time. Why? Because we evolved to do that. It's terrible. Yeah, Williams is stuck in the comfort zone, but miserable zone. Yeah, comfort and misery kind of go together sometimes. It's very weird. But there are ways out. And I do think one of the ways out, and it's funny because a lot of people come to philosophy in times of need. Like, you bug out a bit, especially if you're not religious. You just want to read some wisdom without it having a fairy tale attached to it. You just want straight up wisdom that uses logic, ethics, and certain things to, like, get it through. And it's the time. The tricky thing now is to, like, keep it rolling. A lot of people read this stuff and then they just kind of move on, but I think it's something you got to talk about a lot. So I'm glad William's bringing it up to his friend. The more we talk about these things with friends, the better. Not only is it good for you, it's good for planet Earth now. Do you know how many people don't even know what this is? Now, I had heard about this stuff growing up my whole life. I've heard quotes. I never actually sat down and read the source. It's blowing my mind. None of us go to the source anymore. Nobody does. It's so rare. It's all from an encyclopedia or Wikipedia or another website posted it, or, you know, and I like the source. I want to see the source. You know how things are taken out of context. You know how writers write, journalists. You can literally just lift it out and edit it right there and no one will know. I like reading the source and knowing that I'm reading the words of these people that lived 2,000 years ago. And imagine knowing something that you wrote or anybody wrote now, 2,000 years is going to have that much of an impact on someone's life. It's kind of awesome. It blows away any religious doctrine I have ever seen on a level that's uncanny. You can read this book. There are so many. I can't even begin. It's sad that they don't teach this in elementary school. It should be taught in elementary school. This stuff's not hard to understand at all. I mean, that's this stuff I'm talking about now, this past, present, future, on how to absorb it. Someone said, consider putting together a recommended reading list. I did post one recently on my Facebook page, or on my Instagram page, and I believe I have it here. This is just a reading list now. The other thing that's interesting about philosophy is you got to read it and then really sit down and debate it with your own life. You got to do that. You know, that's part of it. I just made this. All right, so here. I'll put this up right now. These are the books, like right now, this reading list here is very simple. It starts off with the Essential Marcus Aurelius. Easy to find. That volume, the Essential Marcus Aurelius. The Cornerstone edition. It's a very inexpensive book. Seneca's Letters from a Stoic, Dover, Thrift edition. I think it's like $6. The Art of Happiness by Epicurus. Penguin Classics. Here's one of the weird ones. Fenris Wolf, number 10. It's a journal, a bunch of essays. Carl Abramson. Right there. And then, oh yes, for fun, right here, Diogenes of Sinope, The Life and Legend. That's a handbook of source material, which is, Diogenes never wrote anything down. He lived his life and other people wrote about him. And that is a painting of him living in his wine jug. That's how he lived with the dogs. He was literally a homeless squatter on the street who, again, 2,300 years later, I'm reading his book and being affected by it. He is like 300 BC. Or no, yeah. Well, he's Alexander the Great. Alexander the Great went to meet him. He's like, I'm going to go meet this guy. I'm actually reading that right now, that section. Yeah. It's been a great episode, everybody. These are my favorites. It's almost 10 after 9. I'm going to show my magic method. First, I'm going to do my outro, and then I'm going to do the magic method trailer. If you're new in here, hit that subscribe button, like, and also, it is the Cyber Monday deal on Kickstarter, and that Kickstarter is this right here. Satanic Playing Cards. And yeah, it's live on Kickstarter right now, like at this moment. So yeah, guys, you guys have been awesome tonight. That was a fun one. Some good questions. And I'm going to be back on here on Wednesday, and we're going to be talking magic, more magic. And then I'm going to demonstrate some of the things I'm going to teach on Friday. Some of the hard stuff. And that's on Friday. Thank you, everybody. It means a lot that you guys come out here. It means a lot that you guys do the donation thing, too. It all goes into the show. I hope I'm sounding better and looking better with these new lights and mics. It really does go into the show. And everybody that shares my stream and spreads the word, you're helping me too in a manner that's, quite frankly, flattering. It's great. Thank you. You guys rule. I am going to give you my end credits and then my magic method trailers. You guys are awesome. Party on, Wayne. And I'll see you on Wednesday night on my evening hour show. Over and out. Thank God I can do magic, everybody.